Hi John, this is Dan from the Purple Golf Academy, and I've got your swing here from your trip to Neffin recently, and we're going to take a look at your action and see what's going on in there. So I understand you're playing off 12 and pretty useful off that handicap, but suffering a little bit from an over-the-top move, so probably some wild pulls in there and some slices as well at times. So we're going to have a look at that now and show you why that's happening and see if we can give you a few ideas as to how we can help straighten things out just a little bit. So I've got you here at setup, so good angles at address here. I like the look of your setup position. If I bring in one of my favourite swing models, Matteo Manacero, you can see good similarities there in the posture. So good knee flex in there, the back nicely, or the spine nicely forward out over the ball there, similar to Manacero, nice forward bend. So pretty good setup all in all there, I would say, John. The only thing I'd mention is that your knees are a little bit too far forward here, which will tend to push the spine up during the swing. You see Matteo's knees here are sort of over his laces, whereas yours are a little bit more out over your toes. So just maybe something, a small point, but something to think about. You just want to feel your knees are a little bit further back at address, because if the knees are forward, it tends to force the chest up during the swing, and we'll see you do tend to gain a bit of height in the swing. Whereas with the knees a little bit further back, it allows you to turn a bit more easily in the backswing, and that's something we're going to look at in your swing. So just a small point there, but just get those knees back a little bit at address. Now let's just have a look at the shape of your swing, and then I'll come back to talking about what's going on in there. So what we notice with you is that the arms come very much up in front of the body in the backswing here, and if we get you to the top of the backswing, you can see that you look a little bit unbalanced, that your weight looks a little bit too much on your toes at the top here, and your left arm plane is quite high, your hands are quite high at the top there. As a result of that, when you come down into the ball here, you can see your arms come from way outside the plane line there. It's very steep shaft, and the arms are out in front of you there. Now this position here, I would expect the left arm to be somewhere around about here, and the club shaft to be somewhere around there. So you can see your arms are way out in front of you there, and they're going to slice across the ball a little bit too much. Now the body position is actually very good. Now that's the positive thing. So I'm going to show you in a moment how well your body action is working in the swing. So actually all we need to do is really improve this arm swing, and we'll be in good shape with you. But you can see as you approach the ball from that outside here, through impact here, it's a very difficult release, because all your weight is moving onto your toes as your arms move left. You see, because your club's swinging so far to the left, the weight has to stay out on the toes, so it's difficult for you to really release your body properly. So you get this kind of slightly sort of awkward, uncomfortable look here in your through swing. So I just want to take this back and just talk a little bit about, I'll just clear a few of these lines, but I just want to talk a little bit about why some of the things in your swing are happening that we're seeing here. So, as I say, what's happening in your backswing is the arms are immediately coming away from the body here. So there's a couple of things that are causing that. Now first of all, if you look at your hips here, this area here, if you just look at your takeaway, you'll see that they don't really turn. All that actually happens is that your right leg just straightens a little bit as you start your swing, and your right hip gets higher. So if I take you to the top of your backswing here, you can see that your head here, the top of your head, has gone up by about 3 or 4 inches, and your right hip has gone up by about 2 inches. So actually what you're really doing in your backswing here is sort of standing up a little bit and lifting the club up in front of you. So you're gaining height with your hips and your head, and lifting the club up in front of you with the arms. So what we need to get you doing is turning more, so you can work the club around the body on a shallower angle, because at the minute the club's coming up too steep and back down too steep. What we really want is to get that club tracking around the body and following this initial shaft line that I've drawn up the shaft here, a much shallower angle, and that's going to make it a lot easier for you to return the club in a shallow manner, more powerfully and more online. So really what you want is the club to track up this original line in the backswing and then remain parallel to it, to the top of the swing, and that will make the backswing easier. So, just referencing back to this hip position, I want you to feel as though you really turn your hips more off the ball. So rather than just lifting the club off the ball with the arms and straightening that right knee, I want you to feel like the belt buckle and the chest initiate the backswing. So you're just going to rotate them to the right, and then the arms and the club are just going to come along for the ride. Now the other thing I want you to feel at the same time is that rather than the butt of the club moving up and away this direction, see that there? See the way the butt of the club comes off that starting line and your hands go immediately up? What I want you to feel instead is that the butt of the club is going to almost get lower as you start the backswing, and the butt of that club is going to stay a lot closer to your right thigh as you take the club away. Now one way of thinking about that, you see how here, let's clear these lines again, and what I'm going to do in a moment is just show you how Manacero takes the club away for comparison, so you can actually visualise what I'm saying. But what you've got here is a nice angle between the arms and the club shaft at address. See that nice angle there? Now you immediately lose that angle and turn the arms and the club into a straight line. What I want you to feel is that you maintain that nice angle as you take the club away. So essentially you're keeping the top of the club much closer to your right thigh as you take the club away. So you boil that down, it's two things really, John. It's turn the hips off the ball, and it's keep the butt of the club nice and close to your right thigh as you take the club away. So what I want to see at this position here is I want to see the hands still on this line here, rather than being out in front of you. And as we get to the top, to the halfway back position here, I want to see the hands in about this position here, so that when you take the club to the top, the left arm will be more in this position and the hands will be around about here. And then when you start down, the club can come down into the ball in a much more shallow manner. So let me just, as I said, show you yourself compared to Manacero, John, and we'll then hopefully be able to visualise these differences a little bit more clearly. So as I say, similar looking setups, but if we just take you back here to this quarter position, now you see the difference there. Manacero, he's got that club shaft tracking up the original plane line, and he's got his hands on that line, so the arms are going more around the body. With you here, the hands have gone up and they're going up above the body. And you can also clearly see here just how much hip turn Matteo has got at the start of his swing, whereas with you here the hips are still very much straight on and the legs are straightening and the hips are going up, and you can see already your head has gone up here. So that's the feeling. If you just look at Manacero's backswing here again, this first piece, watch how that club tracks up that original shaft line. It just goes really nicely up that original line, and that means that club's working nicely with his body, and it goes around his body. At the top of his swing here, you can see the angle of his left arm is somewhere around about 50 degrees, and yours somewhere up around 60, John. So it's quite a difference there. And as you come down here, now I'm just going to have to try and sync you up, but you can see what I was talking about here in that halfway down position. I'll just try and sync these clips up. It's a little bit tricky because they're a bit out of... just bear with me a moment here. Okay, let's just sync these up. So this halfway down position here, you can see similar position there, but you can see the difference in where the arms are. You can see how Manacero's hands here are way sort of lower, and his left arm's kind of more in this way position, whereas your left arm comes way out in front of you here, and that shaft angle way out in front of you versus one that's matching up very much to this original shaft angle here. So when Matteo gets to delivery position, you can see his hands are nicely with his body turned there, and the club is nicely on that original line, whereas yours is out in front of you. So that kind of clearly shows you the differences there in the approach to the ball and the effect that those backswing positions have. But the good news, John, is which I want to show you here. And I'll just again clear a few of these lines just to show you more clearly. So I've got you top of the backswing here. But what I want you to notice here is just how well you work your body in the downswing, because that's the really encouraging part here. Now I've got the top of your head here, and the same with Matteo. Now if we start you down here, you see how the head drops nicely here, very similar to Matteo here, and that allows you to really use the ground in the downswing. And you can see how your hips are nicely back on this starting line, and your knees are nicely behind this line here. That means you're really firing your body nicely. And if you compare the two positions here, body-wise, very, very similar. You can see Matteo's knees are working inside their starting line, his backside's nicely out behind him, and the same with you here, John. What you find with most amateur players is that the knees tend to shoot out towards the ball in the downswing, and that the hips thrust towards the ball as well, and that forces the chest up, so it becomes a very weak body action, and the player is just forced to use their arms. But with you here, you do a great job of keeping your backside out behind you and rotating that body weight towards the target here. So the body action is superb, but you can just see a difference here in the arms position of you versus Manasseh, and that is why you're going to limit your ability to hit the ball powerfully at the moment. So, you know, very good body action. We just need to get the arm action and the club position to match up to that. So, taking it all back again to what we've just talked about in your swing, John. We just need to get this left arm working more across the chest in the backswing. So you need to get that left arm more behind the body in the backswing. So again, turn those hips off the ball, don't stand the legs up, and keep that butt of the club much closer to your right thigh as you take the club away. And you want to feel that left arm working across the chest. At the moment the left arm comes out in front of you and goes up. You want to feel that left arm work across your chest. Now a good way to practice that, John, is just to stick a head cover under your left armpit as you practice. And all you have to do then is trap that head cover under your left armpit as you make a backswing. All you need to think about is just turning your hips to start the swing and keep that head cover on your chest. Now, I'd love to see some footage of you trying that drill, because I think it would make a tremendous difference to the plane of your backswing, and it will help you get your left arm much more behind you, much lower at the top of your backswing. And that's really it, John, for you. It'd be good to see a face-on view of you as well, just to check that your joints are stacked nicely in position. In fact, I'll just show you one thing I'd like you to look at from face-on if you get the chance. I'll just clear these lines, but what you want to make sure is that your right hip here is nicely forward inside your right heel, and you want to keep it there throughout your swing. If your right hip's too far to the right, it will inhibit this hip turn. So make sure your right hip is nicely forward towards the target at address, and that will help you to rotate your hips nicely in the backswing. But that's it. Good swing, John. Impressed with the body action, as I say. If we can get that arm action working a bit better, you'll be in excellent shape. So good luck with those points there, and I look forward to seeing another video of you quite soon, just to see the progress that we're making there. So good luck, John.